Hey everyone, it's Fox with Foxeo Plays, and I am so ready to start our second Bloodborne playthrough on the channel. We just finished our Rifle Spear playthrough, so if you're coming into this late, years later, well, chronologically, I've just finished the Rifle Spear playthrough, and I am so ready to use a different weapon. I was not happy with that weapon in the long run. So let's start a new game. As always, we skip cinematics and dialogue. And for this character, I think we're going to go with a Korean name. Last time we went with a Japanese name. And this one's going to be FoxeoGames. I think it's... Whoops. I gotta remember the buttons. Here we go. Alright. Let me just verify that that is indeed the name that I want to go with by double checking something real quick. But this is going to be a well-known, incredibly talented, incredibly beautiful Korean race queen model, or a promotional model. And yeah, we'll name her after that. And I'll put a link to a oh, you know, I got her name backwards. Sejin-ah is how it's written. Okay. Not a master of Korean, guys. Hey, I lived in Japan for 3 years. I didn't live in Korea for 3 years. So, if I remember correctly, and if I don't, remind me, I'll put a link to the video where you can see her in action underneath or in the description for this upload. Alright, so there we go, Sejin-ah. And then for gender, obviously we'll go with female. And for appearance, I'm actually going to load a favorite. I've already made kind of like, you know, it sort of looks Asian. It doesn't look exactly like the promotional model, and I kind of gave up. But, you know, it looks more Asian than anything else I could come up with for the moment. So that's our character. For origin, what we want is something with high strength, and I believe that's basically going to be violent past. So we want a high strength requirement because we're planning on using a strength weapon. And then age is going to be young, and I think that's everything we need. Let's make sure we have the voice as young. Yep, young voice. Perfect. Alright, let's get started, guys, with Bloodborne. This is our Kirkhammer playthrough. If I'm not mistaken, we should be able to get the Kirkhammer as soon as we finish tackling the Cleric Beast. I do have some topics I'd like to cover in these playthrough episodes versus before, where it was just purely stream of consciousness. Today's drink of choice is a drink called Stomach Ease. It's not easy to drink because it's a very strong tea. One of the strongest flavors in it is licorice. And for those that don't know, licorice is not the red Twizzlers that you can buy in the United States.
Good.
Licorice is the anise seed, I think it's pronounced. Basically, when people say black licorice, it's a misnomer. There's no such thing as any other kind of licorice but black licorice. Anything else is just like an imitation to look like a kind of licorice candy. But yeah, cherry, strawberry, you know, the red Twizzlers and all that, that's not real licorice. The only real licorice is black licorice. And then something that has a licorice flavor is fennel, which is an interesting little plant that many of you probably have never tried. But yeah, go pick up some if you can at a local farmer's market and slice off a piece and just take a nice big bite out of that. And yeah, it's a pretty good flavor. It's supposed to help with people who struggle with stomach issues like acid reflux. You know, here it really doesn't matter if you die to this guy, but if you want to, you can try to sneak up on him and backstab him. It's not really that important. Got him. Oh, come now. Yeah, basically use the indestructible tables for your defense. Otherwise, you're in trouble. Oh, shoot. There we go. And butt stab. We win. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Okay. Always feels weird to start out in one of these games not having much of anything. You know, having no blood vials, no quicksilver bullets, no weapons, no real armor to speak of. Although I suppose you could go through the game with this most basic of armor sets. Hey, maybe this is your favorite, you know? Most people will optionally choose not to use this armor set throughout the game just because it's the beginner's armor set. And hey, you know, who wants to use the beginner's armor set, right, guys? Am I right? I'm right. One of the things I wanted to talk about during this playthrough is maybe a little bit about my experiences in Japan, how I came to be in Japan, what it was like for me there, some of the things I did, and then also how I got interested in uploading to YouTube. And it actually started in Japan, so for those that don't know, my interest in uploading to YouTube started while I was in Japan. Got him. This is the only way you can do any significant damage without a weapon, is basically you have to backstab these guys. But, I mean, you could run around doing that all day long. It's just kind of, I don't know, kind of a waste of time. Let's just go get a weapon. I think for this, we're going to use the saw spear, because the saw spear, that's actually the cleric beast, by the way. I don't know if you can see him anywhere from here. You can certainly hear him. Let's look at our face. Yeah, oh, there you get a chest view. Alright. The saw spear has some kind of hidden bonuses. At least I think they're hidden. Where basically you do an exceptionally large amount of damage against beasts because it's a saw type weapon. The same applies to the saw spear and the saw cleaver. Sorry guys, I meant the saw cleaver. The saw spear you get later. The saw cleaver is one of your optional beginner weapons. We're going to skip all this stuff. Give me the saw cleaver. Give me the... let's see. We'll go with the pistol again this time. And then I'll take whatever it is you guys give me. The notebook, okay. And then there's Garamond. That old fart. Now if you watch the other playthrough, you know Garamond's not so innocent. But that's another story for another day. We can't fortify anything yet, or repair anything yet. And this is where we store extra items that we can't carry on our person. I hardly ever use that. In fact, the first time I ever actually interacted with this item storage box was in the last episode of our playthrough last time. That's the first time I directly interacted with it. I just always let my blood vials and quicksilver bolts restock every time I returned to the Hunter's Dream. Let's go back to Central Yharnam. This tea is very much an acquired taste. Definitely not the type of tea you would drink if you were looking for flavor. But it is supposed to put your stomach at ease. Licorice has long been considered a herb. Is it an herb? But whatever. It's long been considered a substance or food that calms your stomach. I don't know if it calms you personally. But one thing I'd like to get more into is drinking teas based on moods and my goals for the day. Like, I would like to start having like the morning tea if I don't do coffee, which really coffee's like my morning tea. Then I'd like to have a tea for, you know, when I'm eating something to kind of ease my stomach, and this one might be it right here. Then I'd like to have a tea for when I'm getting ready to go to sleep. And of course, morning for me is not necessarily morning for you, since I worked the midnight shift. Alright, well, let's equip our stuff. Doesn't do us any good if we don't equip it, right, guys? So this is the saw cleaver. It has a benefit against beasts, as I told you, so there are some hidden bonuses to certain weapons that aren't always obvious. Our goal right now is to get as many blood vials as possible and use as few as possible. So we'll see how this goes. I feel much better prepared going through now because this will be my third playthrough of the game. So I feel much better equipped to know what's going on and how to handle these enemies. Also, I like the quick swing speed of the saw cleaver. Wasn't a huge fan of it the first time I used it, but maybe I'll be a bigger fan of it this time around. I'm trying to think of which way I want to go around. Let's go this way first. Well, that was a nice quiet entrance. Nobody heard me. Bam. And then the different weapons also have different combos that you can string together. Something I've never really mastered. I've never been real big on mastering combos in games. Although, it's a good idea to become a combo master. Especially in games like, say, Monster Hunter, Toki Denkiwami, or Bloodborne. Can get you pretty far in life. Or at least in video games. Let me see if I can sneak up on this guy. Not quite. But we still killed him. We're gonna draw them back here. Good old-fashioned aggros here. Oh, look at that guy. He's like, oh no, he killed him. Oh shoot, he got me. Put me right into the fire too. Okay, gotta be careful not to get knocked into the fire. That can hurt you. It's not just for looks. Many of these doors are useless, but some of them do have value. Some of the people behind them will have storylines, or will give you stuff, or both. Gosh darn it. Damn. Oh, I thought I had a backstab. Not quite. By the way, interestingly enough, we call them backstabs. Whoops, my bad. We call them backstabs, but really they all count as viscerals, because if you're equipping a rune that increases visceral damage or that restores health upon visceral attacks, that also applies to the backstabs that you accomplish. So it looks like the game doesn't really differentiate between whether you backstab visceral or do your normal, you know, parry interrupt type visceral. Bloodstone shard, that's useful. That's immediately useful. We're gonna hold on to all of our bloodstone shards until we get the Kirkhammer, and then we're gonna start upgrading that. Oh shoot. Alright, we'll go ahead and pop our first blood vial of the playthrough. Historic moment. An historic moment. So maybe let's first cover how I got to Japan. I got this idea from Epic Name Bro. He was talking about that in one of his streams. Certainly he's not the first to talk about stuff like that in a playthrough. And I've actually covered some stuff like this in previous playthrough episodes on my channel from long ago. But, you know, I like to credit people who have at least reminded me of something or inspired me to do something, even if they inspired me to do it again. So, you know, no one's truly original out here, you know what I mean? Like, this is a side tangent, but I like going on tangents. You guys like it when I go on tangents. But I remember when the Angry Video Game Nerd first started making his videos, and I think anybody who watches gaming videos on YouTube knows who the Angry Video Game Nerd is. Sipping a little bit of the tea there. And one of the things we saw is that there were a lot of people who came after him trying to do something similar. And I never blamed anyone for wanting to do something similar because, you know, they saw the Angry Video Game Nerd do his funny, you know, comedy skit reviews of retro games, basically making fun of bad retro games. And anyone else who did that often got called a copycat. And people would say, oh, you're just copying the Angry Video Game Nerd. You know, you don't have any original ideas, or, you know, you're just a copycat. You're just trying to run off of his success. And to some extent that's true. I mean, we're humans, and as human beings we kind of build off of each other, and inspiration builds off inspiration. We get inspired by the people to create things that are derivative of what those people created. And so sometimes you have to wonder, what's the line between copying somebody and just being inspired by somebody? But I never really blamed people that did that because, number one, I kind of wanted to do it. I never ended up doing it directly. That's not exactly what my channel's about. But at the same time, there were people before the Angry Video Game Nerd that were doing that basic thing. Oh, shoot. Oops. Couldn't dodge. shoot. I'm having a bad experience here. I keep running into what is behind me? What keeps blocking me? Oh, right there. Okay. Let me try this again here. Oh, come on now. Nope. That didn't hit me. That's one of the frustrating things about this game, though. Sometimes when stuff doesn't really hit you, but it will register a hit. That was a big issue in Dark Souls 2. I like to call it like I see it. I don't assume the game is perfect, because, well, we've seen the game is not perfect. But yeah, there were people before the Angry Video Game Nerd that were doing the thing where they mocked retro games. Whoa, whoa! Gosh darn it. I keep getting stuck on that thing. There we go. Okay. Alright, time for some distance here. Damn. Alright, gotta remember, I've got some longer distance on this thing. I just gotta convert it over. So, yeah, I think there was a guy, his name was like Play It Again Bogart or something like that. I used to watch him, and he would basically do semi-let's plays of retro games. And he would kind of mock how bad they were, or just how poorly designed the games were. And that wasn't necessarily his main focus, but that's one of the things he would do on his channel. And no one necessarily accused Angry Video Game Nerd of copying him, but I guess they could have if they wanted to. Oh. Trying not to get hit. Oh, shoot. There we go. Okay. Let's go get that sniper first. There we go. Okay, that should be easier. No, shoot. Oh no, the dog has come after me. I prefer to jump on the dog from using a plunge attack, but I guess that didn't work out. Bam! Nice. Good timing. Good timing, Fox. And I often forget to implement combos of like the item or the weapon conversion combos when you switch a weapon's form. Kind of just directly combo it together. It's easy for me to forget about that. See if we can get a backstab. Nope. So yeah, I don't mind people that are inspired by other people, even if they don't always list their inspirations, because that's just how human beings work. We get inspired by others. Let's see if there's anything else over here I forgot to pick up. No, I think that's it. Alright. Can't wait to get the Kirkhammer. I think I'm going to have fun with that. Although at the moment, I'm kind of debating like using the saw spear. But nah, we'll stick with the Kirkhammer. That's always been the plan. I know for sure I'm going to love the longsword. I mean, I just love longsword weapons. And I love the longsword of the Ludwig's Holy Blade. So I'll definitely love the longsword portion of the Kirkhammer, and then the hammer part of the Kirkhammer will give me a radically different weapon that has a very powerful hit, a slower attack, something a little different from what I'm used to. You cannot sneak up on him. He pretty much always turns around in time. Gotcha. So how did I start out with the whole interest in Japan and Japanese and whatnot? And that's a good question. And I used to get asked that question a lot more when I was in college. But that was a while ago, guys. I haven't been in college in a while. But basically, I was making a bunch of friends online. I was doing the online instant messaging and stuff before it was cool, before the days of AOL. Back during the days even of the old BBS, bulletin board systems, which those were kind of older even when I got started on the internet thing. But when I started going online, it was before the days of what people referred to commonly as the internet. It was really, this is going to surprise some of you, but it was before the days of www. when I was first going online, there was no www that I was aware of, or that anyone else I knew of was aware of. You went online through a service like Prodigy or Earthlink or AOL or CompuServe, and my favorite was CompuServe. You know, everyone else seemed to love AOL. I didn't like AOL. I wasn't a big fan of them. They would send out 1 billion CDs trying to welcome you to their service, to get their service. And I mean, you could plaster the walls with the CDs they would send you. Sometimes you'd get like 2 a day and, you know, 3 or 4 a week. It could get ridiculous. But I would go online and make friends on CompuServe and some other services and talk to people on things like ICQ, which was instant messaging before instant messaging was a big thing. Who remembers ICQ here? And one guy I got to know, his name was Andrew, and he had an interest in Japanese, and I think his interest in Japanese stemmed from what the same interest that a lot of young men had at the time in America, is like anime, video games and anime. And I'd always been interested in video games, and I knew that a lot of the games I was interested in were from Japan, so I had an interest in Japanese, at least marginally, through that. And then he would talk to me about the language, and he would kind of teach me little words here and there just to, you know, give me an example of what it's like. And I thought, okay, well, that seems pretty cool. And I was like, you know, maybe I could study Japanese a little bit. By the way, really cool tactic with these dogs. You can knock them over with a bullet, and then just run up and finish them off. So that's a good strategy for dogs, in case you guys didn't know. So he kind of started me interested in the whole Japanese language thing. And from there, I would like go to my local library. Yeah, this was, you know, the days when you'd go to library instead of just go on the internet. Because granted, guys, keep in mind, these were the days before Google searches, before algorithms were invented for good searching techniques. And so instead of really having searches, you had like Yahoo directories. Like Yahoo would hand pick websites and then file them under certain categories, and you would just click through these directories, and that's how you would find content. Like, let's say you're interested in video games, you would click the video game subcategory, or you would click the video game category, and then under that might be subcategories like RPG or you know, action or puzzle. So you know, that's how you would get stuff on the internet. It wasn't very efficient. It required a lot of, you know, effort, and it required a person actually, you know, hand picking, hand fine tuning things directly, which was, you know, obviously something you could never do today on the internet. It's just too massive for that. And I got, you know, a bunch of books on Japanese, and I tried to teach myself, but, you know, that never works out very well. Just, you really can't teach yourself a language with just books. You need a little bit more than that. So finally, I ended up taking some classes at a community college. And then I planned on doing the community college things for 2 years just to save some money instead of going to university. Full-on university. I think I can skip these guys. I'm trying to remember how. There's a way to get around them. I don't really want to tackle them right now because I'll probably die trying to take on 2 werewolves at the same time. Oh, right here. That's right. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. And so I did my first year at community college, and we had a pretty good teacher learning some Japanese, and he'd take us through, you know, hiragana, katakana, basic pronunciation, some simple words. Like, you would learn simple things like "O genki desu ka?" "Hai, genki desu," or "Ikura desu ka?" You know, "100 yen desu." You know, really simple language that will get you by simple things like how to order food or you know, other things like that. Let's see. And then, sorry, it's hard for me to have these subsequent conversations while also trying to focus on the game, because sometimes this game requires a little more focus than I've got to give to 2 different things at the same time. When the game demands full focus, you'll know, because that's when I'll pretty much go silent. see. There we go, got him. It was really hard for me to learn viscerals at first. I thought they were a total crapshoot. I will admit, some viscerals on some enemies, I'm sorry, interrupts. Some interrupts on some enemies still seem like they're a bit wonky. Like sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. You will clip your gun through enemies oftentimes, which sucks. But I found that as long as you get the timing correctly, it'll usually work. The other issue you have is a lot of attacks that these enemies do. Come on, got it. Got it before he fell. A lot of these attacks are so fast that you really don't have time to interrupt them unless you know the attack is coming ahead of time. So what that means is that, yeah, this tea is best if it's really hot, because once it starts to cool off and become room temperature, you realize it's pretty much a nasty flavor. Don't get me wrong, guys, I love black licorice. I'm a big fan of black licorice. The best thing about liking black licorice, which is the only true licorice, is that if you buy a big bag of black licorice, like say when I was a teacher, if I bought some candy, left it, somewhere, some people might grab some, but if I bought black licorice and left it on my desk, nobody touched it. Nobody touched that black licorice. That was all mine. Oh, there we go. Oh, I should have swatted at him one more quick time while he was falling. That would have given me some additional blood regeneration, which I believe is called rally. I think it's called rally when you hit the enemy and regen part of your health, which is a really cool mechanic. At first I didn't really like it, but I've come to like it a lot more. A lot of Bloodborne has come to grow on me. Whereas, Dark Souls, I will admit, and I'm kind of frustrated that I didn't record my initial experiences with Dark Souls, because you guys would not have been... you guys would have been shocked. Let me say that. You would have been truly shocked, because I had some very negative opinions of Dark Souls. Did I say Bloodborne or Dark Souls? I meant Dark Souls. I had some very negative opinion of Dark Souls initially. Like when I first got the game, I went out and bought it on a whim. I'd heard all this good stuff, so I'm like, okay, I'll go buy it. And I picked it up new, which I almost never buy games new because they're just so expensive. And then I was playing it for a bit, and I kept falling off the edge when you're trying to go up from Firelink Shrine to the Undead Burg. And I told my wife, I said, man, this game sucks. The controls are terrible. And I said, I'm never playing this again. And I put the game down, and I'm like, well, what a waste of $60. Then, I think it was a day or two later, or a week or so, I don't remember. My memory's foggy on this, but sometime later, I picked the game back up, and I thought, you know what, I'll try this again. So many people have told me such good things about it, and it's getting such rave reviews that, maybe I shouldn't write it off so easily. Gotcha. Alright. Throwing knife. Nice. I'm not going to ask what a rat is doing with a throwing knife. That's his business, not mine. Also, as Epic Name Bro pointed out, the Saw Cleaver has the ability to sort of like dead angle backstab enemies. Or at least dead angle put people in backstab positions. The follow-up on the R2, extended R2 on this weapon, can be a little slow, so you gotta be careful. Uh-oh, my dog's barking. Gotta wonder what that's about. I'm not sure what enemies, which of all these enemies count as beasts, but I know this weapon will do additional damage on beasts, so hopefully a lot of stuff counts as beasts. Then you do additional damage to a lot of different things. All that for nothing. Okay. We're not going to do all the optional areas in this playthrough necessarily, but we'll do whatever I feel like doing. How about that, guys? We'll do whatever I feel like doing. I don't know if you noticed, but I shot right through him. That was a clipping issue with the gun. There we go. A little too early on the first shot. Didn't realize he was still alive. I was taking a drink of my tea there. Got him. Okay. When possible, I like to use the short version of this weapon just because it's so much faster. And let me go check and see what's going on with the dog real quick, and I'll be right back, guys. Alright, hopefully I remember to cut that part out. I'll try to edit that part out so you don't see me sitting here for a minute investigating what the dog is barking at. Let's see. Let's try to hit this so we don't take too much damage on the way down. Ah, shoot. Oh well. That wasn't so bad. Could have been worse. These guys take so many hits. Fortunately, they're kind of slow, so that's good. Darn it. Oh, come on. The tells on those attacks, I'm just not used to them. Oh, come on. The reach on that's ridiculous. Alright, there we go. Oh, one more. I guess you can't backstab these guys. And I think, actually, the Saw Spear is back in here somewhere. So if we want to do a Saw Spear playthrough, you can get to that pretty darn quick. Even quicker than the Kirkhammer, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's... trying to get a good gauge of the distance on this. Alright, take that, Ravens. So anyway, before I keep getting distracted, I wanted to talk about my experience in going to Japan. So I told you guys how I got interested in Japanese initially. Went to 1 year of community college, and then the community college I was attending, I guess, had canceled the second year, or one of the Japanese classes that I was going to take because they had low enrollment. And because that was pretty much the primary reason I was there, I didn't feel like wasting a semester of not having any Japanese. Or, I'm sorry, wasting a year or semester or whatever it was. So I decided, you know what, it's time to just move on and go straight to the university, where I know they're not going to cancel Japanese classes. So that's when I moved on to the full university. Oh, come on now. Oh, how did that miss? I disagree with that. Alright. And I pursued my Japanese language education. And part of that was something that you guys, if you're interested in the language, you just have to go live in the culture. There's no replacement for it. I avoided it for a while because I was kind of really nervous, and I was afraid of the idea of leaving my home country and going to a foreign country and living there for a while, and you know, not being familiar with the food and not being that familiar with the language, and it just all seemed like super scary to me at the time. But then I realized that it ends up being really, really cool once you just kind of give into it and let it happen. Two butt stabs in a row. Blood Bile 2. Saw Hunter badge. There you go. I think that gives you the Saw Spear, if I'm not mistaken. Still not 100% expert on the game. Alright, I think we've cleared all that area. So then I went to university, spent some time there studying Japanese, and had a good time. Was learning the language fairly okay, but I had mainly this sort of textbook knowledge. And textbook knowledge isn't really the kind of knowledge you need to master a language. You're not going to become fluent in a language by just... Well, I guess that, Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, okay. That'll end our adventure quickly. You're not going to become fluent by... Oh, I don't know if I've ever come out this way. You're not going to become fluent just by studying textbooks and whatnot. You really do have to put it into practice in the culture, talking with native speakers, hearing the way native speakers speak, because native speakers, when they're just talking casually, don't talk the way stuff is written in textbooks. That's just the way it is. People use all sorts of different phrases. There's dialects. There's shorthand. There are just so many things that make it different. Let me see if I can get this guy before the other guy. Oh, I hate this move right here because it's hard for me to predict that. Got him. There we go. But he hit me too. Well, that's okay. The missile will restore the health. Nice try, buddy. Let's see if these guys dropped anything down here. What? He didn't kill this big group of guys? Wait, what happened? Usually he knocks a big fireball down here and kills a whole bunch of these dudes. Oh, I guess here they are. Okay, I guess they came all the way down here or something. I'm not sure if I need to activate that to go back up, but I did. And I'm wondering if there's something back here I missed. Let me check real quick. I'm going to try to make these playthroughs approximately 45 minutes each, but I'm going to leave myself leeway to make them anywhere between 35 to 55. But 55 definitely should be my absolute limit. I don't want to go beyond that. Was there anything I left down here? Unexplored. I think there's a ladder I could go up. See if there's anything up here. Let's try that. So the nice thing about doing multiple playthroughs is you start to learn the layout and figure out what's what leads to what, which is always a good thing, especially if you're going to be doing PvP or multiplayer. But anyway, getting back to my topic, once I completed some time at the university, I'd finally decided to take the plunge, and oh, okay, this goes right back here. Okay, that makes sense. Let's open up this shortcut this way then. And basically, I decided, you know what? If I'm really gonna do this, I gotta go overseas. My university professor. Excuse me, I'm yawning. Oops. Accidental fire. Negligent discharge. She told me. She was telling me all in Japanese. She said that I have a lot of Japanese knowledge, and I have a lot of vocabulary and grammar. And she said it's all sort of floating around in my head, and I'm not 100% sure on how to put it all into practice. And she said if I go and live in the culture for a while, that will give me the opportunity to, for my brain and for all this language that I have in me to sort of come out and take effect, you know, to all sort of cement and become sensical to me, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm trying to think of how to say this while also concentrating on the game. So it's hard to do these two things at once. But basically, she said I needed to go over there to hear people talking in order to sort of get the experience that I needed to show my brain how it all comes together. And I totally agree with what she was telling me, because once I went over there, even if it was for just a couple months study abroad, that was my first time over in Japan. I later went over there to live there for a while, live and work there. But even my first study abroad experience, I learned so much. I became so much more proficient in the language just just from being there and hearing people saying things and listening to the dialect. And even dialects taught me a lot about the basic Japanese and how it all made sense together. Alright, let's go use the echoes we have before we lose them. For those that don't know, I lived in a part of Japan known as Kansai, which is basically the largest part of Japan that has its own very unique dialect. And there are several sub-dialects of the Kansai dialect, which is known as Kansai-ben. Fortify weapon, thank you. What, that's it? Only one? I thought I got more shards than that. It's not. Actually, I just realized I should not have fortified this weapon. We're supposed to wait for the Kirkhammer. Okay, that's fine. It's really easy to farm those shards, so no biggie. No biggie. But what I would like to see is if we have any way to get insight yet. Darn it, we don't, so I can't yet use my souls to level. Darn. Okay, that's fine. That's life. I have now just finished uploading my Rifle Spear playthrough episode 17, the finale. So that is all done and uploaded. It will become available before you see this first playthrough episode. So I'm trying to get ahead of myself when it comes to my Foxeo Plays channel. My FoxeoGames channel, sometimes I fall behind on that just because it requires so much more effort to put those reviews together. But once I get a review together, guys, you'll like it, trust me, you'll enjoy them. Watch my Freedom Wars review, my Foxstalgia review of Magician on the Nintendo, or watch my review of Lords of the Fallen, or Bloodborne. I think you guys will enjoy them all. Even if you don't care about the game, the review is fun to watch just in and of itself. That's my opinion, at least. I like watching reviews just for the review. Pop some of this and see if I can get some of my health back. There we go. This is a good little run to make here, so that you can get some blood vials and quicksilver bullets. This is not normally part of the run, going upstairs. You can't hide from me, punk. Areas like this are where the torch actually comes in handy. Whoops, wrong one. Let's try this again. Yeah, like that. The torch actually comes in handy, and this is how you get around having to fight those two werewolf dudes. I know they're not called werewolves, but that's what I call them. See how they're back there? This is how we can get around having to fight them. And trust me, fighting two at a time is tough. I try to aggro them one at a time, pull them one at a time, but it's extremely difficult, and I usually end up failing. Alright guys, we're going to finish this up with a quick run here to grab some blood vials. And then, after that, we'll pick it up with episode number 2 of our Kirkhammer playthrough. Ah, shoot, I mistimed that. Yeah, tackling 2 of these guys at once isn't fun. It's easier if you can kill them in one shot. Darn it. There we go. It's best if you can kill them in one visceral. Alright. Well, you know what? We'll call it there. Just head back to the lamp. And then I will see you guys for episode number 2 of our Kirkhammer playthrough. In episode 2, we will go get the Kirkhammer. Pretty sure, at least. Go tackle the Cleric Beast. And then I believe that'll give us the badge that we need to purchase the Kirkhammer. So, until then, guys, I will see you later. And I hope you come back to see the rest of it, because it's going to be awesome, and you'll learn more of my Japanese language story. Later, guys. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to follow my main channel, FoxeoGames. You can click the logo at the bottom of the screen right there. Yeah, I also have a Patreon, so if you're one of those weird people that likes to give money to strangers on the internet, well then you can click the link in the description. I'm on Twitter and Facebook, but I definitely prefer Twitter, so please do follow me on Twitter. I love to interact with my viewers there. I also have 2 videos you guys can check out if you'd like. One is Fox Kinda Reviews, a comedy review series. This one's of Lords of the Fallen. And I also have Bloodborne patch notes for patch 1.03, so click either of those videos to go check them out as well. And I will see you guys next time.